Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to do steps that are coming towards us. So I'll just move this over a little bit. The process is a little bit different and the guidelines are a little different. We still have risers and treads and we're still going to create guidelines for the peaks and the valleys. But this time, in order to make them look appropriately like they're coming forward, you're going to use guidelines that get slightly bigger as they come forward. Now, if you were to take a sled off your stairs, your sled is up here and kind of lays across like that, and then you drop that over the edge, your sled would match up with all these points. That's why we drew the guideline like this, right? And you could slide down those stairs and it would hit those peaks and there would be no real problem. It bends a little, so you'd hit the little bump on each step, okay? But what that means is if they're coming towards us, they have to get appropriately bigger or smaller as they go. So what we're going to do in this case is start with our step. So last time we started with a guideline, we're going to start with a step that we want. And I'm going to draw kind of big just to make this a little quicker. And I'm going to go like that. I'm going to say that's my step. Okay, I can use a straight edge. And I need to know how big I want to make these first steps. So if I want to go that deep on my first step, that's no problem. And the first step was to dig a hole. So I dug a hole. It looks like a mat on the floor. So I dug a hole in the floor. And I dug a hole in the floor on this side. It would be the same thing on each side. So what I will not see, if this is opaque, I will not see the other side of the step. If I did see the other side, then I could draw that down to the same depth. And this is just like drawing the front of a box, okay? So make sure it's horizontals. That's what it would be in behind there. So just like on this side, you can see that side, you can do it here. If this is in the middle, I would drop this down and that would be my first step here, let's say. And I could see this side and that side. They will all line up with one vanishing point for a guideline, but it won't be the same vanishing point as this is. This is a vanishing point for everything like the tread, for everything that lays flat. That's why we did all these going to that vanishing point, okay? Next part is that's how deep I want the riser to go. I'm going to decide on the tread. This is a giant tread. It is the floor. This time I'm going to go, because the tread goes to the vanishing point, I'm going to go from the vanishing point and I'm going to draw a line out. And notice that a common mistake is that people will try and go back up here. They think the step, but your step is to get away from that top surface, okay? So if this is the top surface, the top ledge, the whole point of stairs is to drop away from those. Okay, so I'm going to draw that in as a ledge that I'm trying to build distance from by taking steps and going downward. Okay, that's the idea. So I want to be able to drop down this distance right here somewhere. Okay, so because this gets closer to us, it never gets smaller. That's why we use that vanishing point. So don't be confused. You drop down, your first one is going to be that riser. Your second one's going to be that tread. And you've decided the scale, the size of all these steps. So I'm going to come forward. I'm going to decide that that's enough of a tread right there. And then I'm going to come down. But my question now is, just like with tiles, how far down does this go as a riser until it stops? I can't decide that one anymore because this is how big I made the first riser. This is how big I made this tread over here. So now when this drops down, how far do I go to match this? This one's closer. It's also dropped down a little bit. So how big is this by the time it gets to here? Does that make sense? So now we get to create very much a guideline. And I'm looking like I need to have another piece of paper here. When I make my guideline, after I've chosen my steps here, all I'm going to do is connect the peaks. I do have two peaks. I don't have two valleys. I don't know where this valley goes. So there's my two peaks. I'm just going to connect the line. I'm going to use an orange marker. And as I go up, you're going to notice that on my old vanishing point, I made, oops, let's put this on a little bit better here. So being off by a millimeter down here changes a lot. So I'm going to draw up towards, there's my horizon line. My vanishing point is at this level. I'm going to just keep on drawing until I go directly over the old vanishing point. Okay, so before I get predicting, same as this one where we had the guideline creating these peaks, this one's going to guide the peaks as well, but I need to know where the vanishing point is. So wherever it crosses over, so here I go, I'm going to keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. And I use extra paper up top. Okay, I'm going to drop this down for a second so you can see. Hopefully you can see. So there it goes, right up here. And you can see my old vanishing point is right here. So I'm going to make sure that's vertical. And I'm going to let that cross over up here somewheres. Okay, so you can see this line that goes up. This is my vanishing point for my guidelines. These ones didn't have a vanishing point because they don't get any smaller as they go sideways. They didn't, only the stuff that coming towards us like the treads and so on would get bigger. Now what I can do is connect a vanishing point to this corner, and that'll tell me, if I can show you here, the vanishing point up there for the guidelines to this corner right down here, and that will show me where the rest of those little valleys go. And it's hard to see because I haven't got enough space on my camera here. But I'm going to connect to this one. So there's my new vanishing point for my guidelines. I'm going to point it right down as close as I can towards there, and it doesn't quite, I'm going to have to find another straight edge. So, and it starts off from a point. It gets larger as it comes forward, and I'm off a little bit. So I think my real line should be right about here. Okay. And I'll move this down so you can see that that line right there, once I found my real edge, I'll move this down so you can see, that's going to tell me where I already know where this goes. This actually created the vanishing point. This one creates the bottom one. So I know where this riser will drop down to. So here I go. I'm going to create the rest of that guideline. And what's cool is if I want to make the exact same steps on the other side over here, then I know I use the exact same vanishing point up top. So for now, this one will do for this side. And if I ever want to draw anything on the other side there following the same angles as these steps do, I have my vanishing point to do that with. Okay, so there we go. There's my guideline. So now I can drop down with my pencil. Go as straight as I can. I happen to line it up with a wall up here. And I know to stop right at that red line, that orange line. So that where this crosses over right here, that's that height tread as it's come forward. And then I just put a horizontal. So every corner has all three kinds of lines. It's got horizontals, verticals, diagonals going to the vanishing point. Okay, and then this one, it goes to the regular vanishing point. So right over here, I want to know where that tread is. So just like this floor goes to the vanishing point, and this mini floor goes to the vanishing point, the next mini floor, which is this tread that I step on, I want it to be flat. And everything flat goes to that old vanishing point until it hits the guideline. So this one would go up, sideways, until it hit the guideline here and hit the guideline there. In this case, our guideline gets a little bit bigger. So this tread is now that big. And to make it clear, I can draw this across. And this last line I got so crooked on, so I can get rid of it and fix this up a little bit. Okay. And then I can use my vertical. Every corner has all three kinds of lines. And I line it up with that wall, see how far I wanted to lean it over. If I line up with this wall up here, that gives me my vertical. That makes all the difference in the world. This comes across as a horizontal. And I can barely see it. And eventually these steps will disappear behind this floor. So this goes to the vanishing point way the heck down here. And eventually also, I'm going to get to the point, everybody, where, just like the tiles, where those things are traveling at the same angle as the guidelines or past. And those are the steps that go underneath you. And that's where perspective runs out, because it can no longer, it can't keep getting closer because it's already underneath you. And it's actually going to turn around and start getting further away from you. All right. I know that this one drops down. So let's say I want to come down these 3 steps and then I want to make an island out here. So I can make the hole in my floor stop wherever I want to. Let's say I want to stop my floor, I don't know, right around here. Let's stop my floor here. Does that seem horizontal to you? Maybe there. Okay. So then all I gotta do is drop this down, and it's just like drawing the front of a box. There's the top of a box, and I can drop this down right here as far as I want to, but I want to give space maybe for one of these steps. So it's gonna be tricky to figure out where this will drop down to get to that level, because this is far forward compared to this one, okay? So it's easier on this side because all I would have to do is go dot, 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 and then come across. That's where the floor would end. So if I wanted to match this step right here and have this come down 2 steps, I would just go horizontal, come across, and then I can come across here. And that will tell me where this ends. And coincidentally, remember coincidences happen a lot in here, the floor would end here if I wanted it to be at the same level as this tread, if I wanted to end at this one. So, which I could totally do. I could say it comes across here. Okay? And that could be it. But I want to end it here. I'm going to drop down over there somewhere. So this can all be a wall that's in front. Okay? And that means that this step will continue across, and I'll still be able to see those stairs dropping down. So, and I'll see this one, even though a blue marker is there, and I'll see this one coming across. And then I'll see this dropping down again, unless I want to make this bigger. If I want to make that a landing, this can continue indefinitely, right? What if I want to make that a landing, and it can come across, maybe it stops just before the end of the page. And by that point, can it start to swing around this island in the middle? So it'll take some figuring out. And I'm not going to do that in the video and take up your time. I just want to show you steps that come towards us. So that's basically it. So I can go in and to clarify some of this, I can put some markering in, or you can shade however you like. So you can start seeing that step. Use the other side here. I'm going to leave my guidelines because I want to be marked for having done it properly. My marker's running out. It's leaving these marks, in which case I want to go this way because I want that riser to look, those lines. If you're going to shade, make up and down things go up and down. Okay. Guess I gotta switch. Okay, so you can start to see my steps a little bit better there. I'll cheat. So cheat and go sideways for a minute maybe, and then I'll go up and down. Got some fluids built up in one end so the marker works better on this end. Okay? I can go back in this. The Copic markers will go nicely over top in layers. They mix together nicely. So there we go. I could also draw it in here and maybe it's a different light to let you know how much that drops down in through there. Okay, so lots of diagonals that can go back to the vanishing point. right? Or I can shade that direction as well. So I can go like this, back to the vanishing point. Because now we're on a Y plane. But I like the vertical lines to tell my spectators and my audience about the up and downness of that wall. Okay, and if there happens to be light coming in, if there happens to be light coming in on this side from this direction, then maybe this wall is getting some light this way. Okay. And I can cheat. I can give my treads, I can make them lay down as well. I might want to go really bright with those if my marker will do it. If this thing will do it. And I can shade in the direction to that vanishing point. You can still see those guidelines that are there. You can make that, if I put these lines in at the last, or the last thing I see, that'll be, make that tread look like it's laying down a little bit. Okay? So, and it, obviously this is a huge step as it comes forward. So you get it. Okay, so those are steps. You can make them wrap around one way or the other. You can do whatever you like to, but make sure that the steps that comes towards you or away from you have a guideline. Now, if they're dropping down away from you somehow and they're clear, you would see a vanishing point down below the old vanishing point somewhere. And there's no vanishing point for the guidelines going up sideways. And there you go. There's your steps. Lickety split, just like that. Enjoy. And we'll see you in the new year. Bye-bye.